New York.
Apple.
Hot dogs.
Dollar.
Hollywood.
Democracy.
Freedom.
Rock and roll.
Wall Street.
Statue of Liberty.
Los Angeles, California.
McDonald's.
Jeans.
Bubblegum. Video games. Nintendo.
What's so great about America?
Every Saturday night, 7 to 9 p.m., explore American culture and language.
With Master Steve,
Ina MK,
And Hasba Cutie.
tune in to find out about what makes America so great.
The Great American Weekend. Listen exclusively on Radio Van 103.1.
Also, watch us on the Radio Von Facebook page, website, and mobile app. Welcome to the Great American Weekend here on Radio Von. I am Master Steve, and I'm here with...
Good evening, dear Master Steve. I'm Ina MK. Nice to meet you. And we're here till 9 p.m. as always. Welcome, dear listeners. Welcome, dear followers. And, of course, we have prepared some theme for you tonight, which is George Washington.
Yeah, we're going to talk
Jobs.
about... Yeah, we're going to talk about some famous Americans who were born this week.
And we won't be alone in the studio tonight, because later on during the show, we are going to welcome two musical cool guests.
Yes.
Who are they? Find out following our group and our Facebook page.
We're gonna leave them hanging. We're gonna leave them hanging. All right.
Just check out our Facebook group.
We're gonna be all mysterious and stuff tonight. We got people coming.
Yeah.
We don't know who it is. It's going to be a surprise to us, too.
Yeah.
No.
So how have you been, Master Steve? Did you go to the concert? I think you mentioned that you were going to.
Which concert?
Last time.
Well, I went
Leelitte
on Monday. I went and saw the Haik Shakarian group, and that was good. Yeah, it's the first time I've seen him play. Piano player, really good.
Did you like it?
Yeah, liked it a lot.
Cool. Yeah. And I would like to remind our listeners that they can write comments. They can call in 560901, ask questions, chat with us online, on air, and also follow our group, which is Radio Von FM, Radio 1FM, 103.1, our Facebook page, and our Facebook group, Great American Weekend Radio Von, our official website, www.radiovon.fm, and the app. Download it and listen and watch anywhere you are.
So here, I've got something. I watched the winner for Best Picture. This year.
I know. I read your
Parasite.
status. You didn't like it.
Well, I didn't. It's
sorry.
not that I didn't like it. Did you watch it? Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it, and I liked it.
You liked it? Okay. I just didn't.
Unexpected.
I didn't get
ending
it.
of the story.
I didn't. Well, actually, no. I was kind of expecting it. I was expecting. I'm not going to say it because.
Okay, it's a spoiler.
Yeah.
We are not going to spoil the movie, but
I was like, this is just not all that exciting
Oscar.
and interesting. I didn't see how it could have beat, say, Joker. And what's the other movie I've seen this year? Marriage Story.
I haven't watched it. Is it good?
It's good. I mean, it's not spectacular, but it's a good, solid movie. I haven't seen The Irishman yet. I want to. What else? 1917 I haven't seen yet. I want to.
Gentleman watched it, even though it's not for Oscars
or anything,
but it's really, really cool. I watched it the other day. It's awesome. You like the British humor and all the dialogues. I was like thinking Master Steve would love this part.
But yeah, thank you for the recommendation. That's cool. I'll have to write that down. But yeah, I was just I didn't get it. I don't know why it was such a big deal. It wasn't a bad movie. It was just kind of
okay.
It reminded me of Lost in Translation. Did you ever see that movie?
Lost in
With
Tom
Bill
Hanks?
Murray and
yeah.
it was
I know,
Scarlett
it's-
Johansson, right? Just like,
Right,
like
yeah.
almost 20 years ago now, right? That it won for Best Picture.
I didn't like it that much.
I didn't either.
Because it's so like boring
It was just
to me. I mean,
very plain, kind of dumb conversation between two average people in an odd place.
yeah.
And so I was just like, that's a Best Picture? What? And I have the same feeling about Parasite. Like, it's not like it was horrible. It was just kind of,
It
What?
showed the differences of social layers and how it's at the end of the day just
yeah.
Explodes.
But I mean, that, to me, that was just so kitsch and so, there was not, the
Cliche?
characters to me seemed like they were all cliches. And so at the end, when somebody, kind of loses it and does something crazy, I was like, yeah, I could kind of see that coming. And it's not really for
Something should
any
happen.
good reason. It's just,
just because.
yeah. I'm like, what? You got to be kidding me. I don't know.
Well, maybe it's for Korean
If you saw the
movie.
movie
It's a
and
big
you
deal for
liked it,
Korean movies.
if you saw the movie and you liked it, and you think you can explain it to me, call in.
Call in.
'Cause
and
I would like
share
somebody to
your
be able to
impressions
really
with
explain it to
Master
me.
Steve. 560901 is our number. And we'll be here till 9 p.m.
Oh,
sharing
really?
with you
We're going to be here
prepared-
until 9?
Yeah.
I can leave at like a little after 9?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
But you can stay also. We've got freedom of choice here. Also, we've prepared for you some quotes, of course, which will be coming right after this break. Quotes by Steve Jobs. It was
Steve
his
Jobs.
birthday.
Yeah.
When was it? I forget. Yeah, we'll tell you that after the break.
Steve Jobs.
All the information after the break. And also, of course, a quiz is there to come. Some news if we have time. Some new words and phrases. And also, we are going to speak about another important person in computer history.
So Steve Jobs, his birthday is on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
He was born in 1955. He passed away in 2011. I don't know why is he famous? We'll talk about. I don't know.
We'll find out when we read his quotes. Maybe there's some wisdom there that we can discover. Stay tuned. This is the Great American Weekend. We'll be back right after the break with some quotes. Call in 560901.
Come and hang with us every weekend. It'll be a blast.
A blast?
Yeah, a good time.
No, come chill with us. It'll be cool.
Chill?
Yeah, relax, hang out.
Come chew the fat with us.
Yuck! No way! Join us!
On the Great American Weekend, where we'll help you decode American slang.
Yes, this is the Great American Weekend, and I'm here with Master Steve and Ina MK, and I have prepared a regular quotes part, and so we're ready, and we'll read some quotes by Steve Jobs. His birthday is on Monday, so we dedicate these quotes to him. Let's do it. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. And don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. That's true. Have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Stay hungry, stay foolish.
That's a really famous one.
Yeah. I think it says that just push yourself, stay eager to learn, take risks, and keep trying to do what others think is foolish or others say.
Well,
that
don't
can
be
done.
cynical. Don't be cynical. believe that you can do great things.
And don't listen to people who do not believe. If today were the last day of your life, would you want to do what you are about to do today? That's a good one. I think the things you regret most in life are the things you didn't do. True. Remembering that you are going to die is the best way I know to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose. You are already naked. There is no reason not to follow your heart. Seems like all of these are almost about the same thing. About following your heart and intuition. We're here to put a dent in the universe. Otherwise, why else even be here? Sometimes when you innovate, you make mistakes. It is best to admit them quickly and get on with improving your other innovations. My favorite things in life don't cost any money. It's really clear that the most precious resource we all have is time. I'm convinced that about half of what separates successful entrepreneurs from the non-successful ones is pure perseverance. Innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower. I think if you do something and it turns out pretty good, then you should go do something else wonderful. Not dwell on it for too long. Just figure out what's next. That's a hard one to do, actually.
Yeah.
Your work is going to fill a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking. Don't settle. As with all matters of the heart, you'll know when you find it. Being the richest man in the cemetery doesn't matter to me. Going to bed at night saying we've done something wonderful, that's what matters to me. Simple can be harder than complex. You have to work hard to get your thinking clean to make it simple, but it's worth it in the end, because once you get there, you can move mountains. You have to be burning with an idea or a problem or a wrong that you want to right. If you're not passionate enough from the start, you'll never stick it out. Design is I think the graphic designers would love this. Design is a funny word. Some people think design means how it looks, but of course, if you dig deeper, it's really how it works. When you grow up, tend to get told that the world is the way it is and your life is just to live your life inside the world. Try not to bash into walls too much. Try to have a nice family life, have fun, save a little money. That's a very limited life. Life can be much broader once you discover one simple fact. Everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you, and you can change it. You can influence it. Once you learn that, you'll never be the same again. And the last one, my main reaction to this money thing is that it's humorous. All the attention to it, because it's hardly the most insightful or valuable thing that's happened to me. That's all. You stay silent the whole time.
Yeah,
that doesn't happen a lot.
I have to be honest.
Were you pondering or thinking?
I've heard a lot of these before. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of Steve Jobs.
Yeah, I know that.
I'm just not. I mean, and I also am not a big fan of what the common impression is that the Apple company and that Steve Jobs did so many new and great things, right? None of what they did was really that new. Steve Jobs was not an inventor. He didn't invent a damn thing. He found other people's inventions and marketed them.
Nice promotion.
He found other people's ideas and pushed them to make them better. The personal computer was already there. before Apple made its first computer. They just made it a little bit more user-friendly, which is something in and of itself, right?
What's your
That's good.
computer?
Mine's a Microsoft Surface. I don't like Apple's stuff. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
I know. It ties you to all these iTunes and all kinds of stuff that makes your life more complicated.
Not just that. And what bothers me is that so many other computer products are following in Apple's footsteps, where they don't really give you that much
freedom
choice and options and whatever. I mean, Steve Jobs
totally agree.
Yeah, Steve Jobs was limited because the more options a person has, the less user-friendly something is going to be, which is fine for a lot of people who don't understand what it is that they're doing or what they want out of a smartphone or whatever. But for the people that do, it limits you. You know, the way that file structures are done in computers these days, especially Macs and iPhones, even Samsung Android phones now, I don't like it because you don't understand what's happening.
Yeah, it
takes care of a lot of things automatically, but you don't understand, and then there are certain things that you just can't do if you want to. A lot of times there's things that people don't want to do a lot, but when people want to, they should be able to. So yeah, I'm not a big Apple fan. You know, Apple didn't and we'll talk about this guy a little bit later, or actually maybe we should talk about Larry Tesler. Okay, he worked for Apple for a while. Steve Jobs kind of brought him to Apple from Xerox. But anyway, we'll talk about this after the break.
Yeah.
Because Larry Tesler passed away last week. He was 74 years old, I believe. And he's known as the inventor of cut, copy, and paste.
Yeah, that's a big thing. And he didn't get that much of a promotion like Steve Jobs did. So.
Well, no. I mean, he was
him.
vice president of Apple Computers at one point and the chief research scientist. So,
I mean, advertising.
No, but I don't think he wanted it. I mean, Steve Jobs was an interesting personality.
Okay, we'll talk about it right after the break, and we're gonna listen to Animal by Missio. Stay tuned. This is the Great American Weekend, and do not forget to call in 560901. Hey Steve, do you like Hush Harrison Spas?
Yeah, I love them. But what would you call them in English?
Yeah, I'd call them cowfoot stew, chicken porridge, and sour yogurt soup.
Sorry I asked.
The Great American Weekend.
Welcome back to the Great American Weekend here on Radio Vaughn. I'm here with Ina MK.
And I'm here with Master Steve, and you're always welcome. So, what do we have next, Master Steve? We are speaking about Larry Tesler, right?
Yeah. So he was working at Xerox.
Yeah.
Which is really funny here in Armenia because, you know, what do you use the word Xerox for?
For copying the
And in the U.S., even around the world these days, most people think of Xerox as a company that makes copy machines.
It's the same thing for instance, diapers. We say Pampers.
Yeah. Well, and
Pampers.
Boxy.
Yeah. It's exactly.
You know, it's a boiler.
The same thing.
It's a boiler. So Xerox actually had a research facility that created or developed some of the things that, I mean, our lives would be very different without. The mouse for a computer, not the little creature, you know, the mouse on a computer, the graphical user interface. Okay, so, you know, before Xerox developed this, all of your interactions with a computer were typing at a command prompt. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too.
I do.
I bet there are a lot lot of our listeners out there that don't
have
remember
a clue.
that, and just remember that. You
and
know, command
enjoy
prompt
all
and
the
enjoy. Yeah, I mean,
the progress.
no pictures, just words. No point and click. You had to remember the commands. You had to spell things right. That was always my problem when I was a kid doing that, you know. I would spell a word. I would type something in, spell a word wrong, and hit enter, and then the computer would say, you know,
Error.
Error. I'm like, why? But oh, I spelled catalog wrong.
But now with all the ABC check thing, we forget words because of that, because we rely...
Forget? No, I never knew how to spell to begin with. So whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, so these were the sort of things that Xerox was doing. They were creating these things. And both Steve Jobs and Bill Gates saw what was going on at Xerox, and they realized that Steve Jobs basically said, I think it was to Tesler, that what are you guys doing? What is Xerox doing? You have the graphic user interface. Why aren't you making something out of this? This could be huge. And they just didn't. And so both Steve Jobs and they had kind of, I think Xerox had kind of shut down their work on it and kind of let their intellectual property rights to it kind of go. And then both Microsoft and Apple picked it up and started to run with it. So you had the Lisa computer, which actually Tesler worked on for Apple, which was the first computer with a graphic interface. Which was like $10,000 or something like that. It was ridiculously expensive back in like 83 or something. It was and then like a year later, the Macintosh came out, which was the second computer. And then, you know, I forget what year. By 95, Windows 95 was out. But by the early 90s, there was Windows by Microsoft for DOS computers. So everything was basically graphical user interface. But they got the idea from Xerox, and Tesler was one of the guys that helped develop it. When he was working on the Lisa project at Apple, he created Control V, right? Control C,
our favorite,
and Control
options.
Z. He developed those.
Thank you.
The Lisa computer was the first thing to have those cut, copy, and paste.
Thank you, Mr.
He did it.
Tesler.
Yeah, he did it. He also did a lot to create the search function, and he created the search and replace.
Search and replace. Yeah, find and replace.
Find and replace. Yeah, find and replace.
That's a great option.
Right.
That's very useful.
You know, he worked at Apple for quite a while. I think until like 1997, from the early 80s until 97. He did a lot of things, but this is one of those things. Steve Jobs didn't invent any of this, but Apple Computers gets credit for it. Yeah, Apple Computers gets credit for a lot of this. But Steve Jobs really didn't. He pushed people. He poked and prodded people. He sometimes even took other people's ideas and presented them as his own. Once he got more famous, he would present other people's ideas as his own, and people would be like, "Oh my gosh, it's Steve Jobs' idea! It's so incredible!" And they would just buy it up. Whereas if the real person had done it, it wouldn't have gotten so much notoriety.
Really modest people behind the whole thing. I
don't know if you ever read. It's a good read. Walter Isaacson's biography of Steve Jobs. He wasn't an incredibly nice person.
He wasn't?
He knew what he wanted.
Sounds like it.
He knew what he wanted. He did whatever he had to do to get it, or to get things done. He bullied people. He was mean to people. They talk about a reality distortion field. He would make people around him believe things that they knew weren't true, that he wanted to be true.
That's the path to success. That's what
Gertrude
Stein was talking about. Remember our previous quotes?
Yeah. Well, it's either a path to success if you can get enough people to buy into it so that it happens, or it's a quick path to crashing and burning because, this is not going to work. We all believe it's going to work. We all believe it's going to work so much that we can't even think about the possibility of it failing, and boom.
I have to have the talent of hypnosis, I think.
So I think there are people are going to probably hate me for saying this, but I think there are a lot of personality and ethical similarities between Steve Jobs and Donald Trump. I really think so. Because Trump was never really a businessman anyway. He was a salesman.
Showman.
Definitely.
Showman.
He's a reality TV star. But yeah, Walter Isaacson's biography of Steve Jobs is really good.
Yeah, so make sure you read that before getting an idea and making your opinion about Steve Jobs.
How about this? I've got some George Washington quotes.
Wow.
Can we do that?
Great. Yeah, of course. I don't mind.
It's better to offer no excuse than a bad one. How about, it's better to be alone than in bad company.
Yeah, I know another good quote about that.
Share. Come on.
It's better to stay hungry than to eat trash.
Yeah.
It's better to be alone than in bad company. It's better to take poison from a smart person rather than taking good advice from a dumb
bad person.
Yeah,
from a dumb person.
person.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Omar Khayyam said that, and I think I missed one line out of that, but the whole point, the whole thought is the same.
Yeah. So another George Washington: a free people ought not only be armed but disciplined, to which end a uniform and well-digested plan is requisite, and their safety and interest require that they should promote such manufacturers as tend to render them independent of others for essential particular military supplies. Never mind. Okay, the first part of that is what I was and I didn't cut the rest of it out. Yeah. A free people ought not only be armed but disciplined.
But disciplined. That's true. Yeah.
Which I think is part of the problem with gun ownership in the United States these days.
They're
armed but not disciplined.
That's a problem with talented people as well.
Yeah.
That they are armed with talent, but they're not disciplined enough and hardworking to get to the point that they could have gotten.
Be courteous to all, but intimate with few, and let those few be well tried before you give them your confidence. True friendship is a plant of slow growth and must undergo and withstand the shocks of adversity before it is entitled to appellation.
Appellation?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Like...
To apply?
Yeah,
Does that come from...
I don't know the exact definition of the word, but what he's getting at is kind of like before it will bear fruit. Mm-hmm. Or before you should...
grow the plant before before picking.
If freedom of speech is taken away, then the dumb and silent may well be led like sheep to the slaughter. Yeah, but what if the dumb aren't silent?
Yeah, that's a danger.
I don't think that's a problem he was necessarily faced with. Yes,
and I know
but George, what if the dumb don't stay silent?
Yeah, they say there isn't a more dangerous person than a dumb person with an initiative. That's another good one. We're having a quote blast.
I would, yes.
Yes.
Human happiness and moral duty are inseparably connected.
Human happiness and moral duty.
You can't be happy if you aren't responsible.
Yeah, but I wouldn't agree on that one. A lot of people who just don't care about anything much are so happy.
I don't know. Maybe we could put
What is happiness?
Joy. Well, yeah, I maybe would put joy in there instead of happiness.
Yeah, could be.
Because happiness is kind of superficial sometimes. Joy is something different. Yeah. So those are the George Washington quotes that I pulled up.
And I have a question.
Okay.
Do you want to do the news or a quiz about George Washington?
Boy, boy, we don't have time for much else. Can we do the
10 minutes?
We've got 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Freedom of choice.
Yeah, should we do... Speaking of idiots speaking loudly, now let's do the quiz.
Speaking of idiots, let's do the quiz.
I just, there's something going on with the U.S. election, and I would like to talk about it, but let's do the quiz first.
Okay. How well do you know George Washington?
Oh, me and him, we go way back. Buddies. I was there when he chopped down the apple tree.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Because
actually, I'm the one who did it, and he took the blame for me.
This has some connection with the thing you said
Which is why I
before.
still feel guilty. I'm guilt-ridden. And
this discovers the mystery of you being 60-year-old.
Oh, I'm a hell of a lot older.
Yeah. Okay, let's do it. George Washington grew up on a farm in what state? Montana, Virginia, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts.
Virginia.
West Virginia.
Not West Virginia, Virginia.
What was George Washington's wife's first name? Margaret, Mary, Martha, Melanie.
Melanie? I don't even think that was a name back then. Martha.
Melanie. Oh, next question. Folklore says, so when George was young, he got in trouble for cutting down a tree.
Apocryphal.
What kind of tree was it?
Apocryphal.
Apple, cherry, plum, fair. Microsoft.
Apple. No.
Steve Jobs' apple.
It was an apple tree, wasn't it? Or am I getting Newton and George Washington confused?
We'll find that out.
A cherry tree, or is it The Cherry Orchard by Anton Chekhov? I'm getting all confused now.
We choose apple. All right.
Okay. Apple.
Before he was a plantation owner, or a man of war, what job did young George Washington do for Lord Fairfax? Planted his crops. B, trained his horses. C, made his furniture. D, surveyed his land.
Surveyed his land, I believe. He was a land surveyor.
What was the first war that Washington took part in? The Civil War, the Indian War, the Revolutionary War, the War of 1812.
The Revolutionary War. That seems too easy.
What famous river did George Washington cross on December 25th, 1776? Columbia, Missouri, Sabine, Delaware.
The Delaware.
Okay. Number 7. What was George Washington's military rank? Captain, General, Admiral, Lieutenant.
General, I think. I don't.
That's a very general answer.
General. General Washington.
When did George Washington become president? Oh, I hate the numbers. How do you remember these things? March 30th, 1788. March 30th, 1789. April 30th, 1788. April 30th, 1789.
88, I believe, but there were two of them in 88?
Yeah, April or March.
April or March. I would have to say March.
Okay.
Because I believe
30th.
the Electoral College is required to...
88, right?
Yeah, 88. I'm guessing. I can never remember years.
Question. I can't either.
Numbers
Question number
are
9.
horrible things.
I know. I'll tell that to Steve Jobs. Question number 9. What was one of Washington's first acts as president? To form a national bank, to open land to settlers, to build roadways, to start mail service. Land, maybe? To open land?
To open land to settlers, I think.
Since he was doing the
I think to open land to settlers might be. I don't know. That's a good question. The bank or I don't know.
I chose the land.
Yeah, the land.
How many stars were on the flag when Washington first became president?
13.
13. There you go.
There were also 13
My
stripes.
favorite.
And
number.
they used to keep adding stripes when they were adding stars until they realized this is just not working.
This is not enough
And
space.
then they went back to 13 stripes.
George Washington served 2 terms as president. How many new states joined the country during his presidency? 2, 3, 4, 5. That's simple, but I'm not sure about the answer.
3, I think.
3. Okay. When did George Washington die? 1798, 1799, 1800, 1801.
1801, I believe.
This was the last question, and now let's see our results. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 out of 12.
Ouch. Oh no. I didn't do my homework for that one.
Because there are too many numbers that you have to remember. Not everybody can remember all the numbers.
Oh, he died in 1799. Horrible. I feel embarrassed.
You shouldn't, because we also learn during this show.
Well, okay,
we?
but tell us what the right answers were then.
You know what I don't like about these quizzes? That they just tell you, like, you have 6
they
out
don't
of...
give you the right answers?
Yeah, maybe they think that we should Google and find that out
Yeah.
ourselves.
Well, they don't tell us which ones we got wrong?
Yeah, they do.
Don't tell us which ones.
They do.
They
It
tell
was
us which
like-
ones. Okay.
Yeah, we'll dig, okay? We promise. And if you want to know the truth, just Google, dear ladies and gentlemen.
Oh God, no! Oh no! That makes no.
What?
No. If you want to know the truth, just Google it. No.
Yeah. Well, I agree. That sounds somewhat.
There's so much stuff out there
There's
Google
so
searches
much
that's just not
false in that truth. So, what do we have for our next 2 or 3 minutes?
2 or 3 minutes. News. Yeah. So
okay, you can go for it, and I can continue.
So I forget
break.
which. I think it was maybe the Washington Post had a news story. Well, so there's a big thing now in the U.S. about Russia interfering in the presidential election again. Mm-hmm. And this
As
is
always.
As always. Yes, as always. The internet and social media make it much easier for Russia to try to interfere in the U.S. presidential election. And so we should not be surprised that they're trying to do that. They are apparently doing things. The U.S. intelligence community is saying that they are doing things to try to support to support both Trump and Bernie Sanders. Mm-hmm. Okay, the question is, why would they do that? Why would they do both? And I think I'm so fed up with people in the U.S. and then I'm even upset that the intelligence community would come out and start saying, "Well, the Russians are trying to, help Trump win the election." Dude, we know that the Russians are trying to mess with the election. Mm-hmm. We know that. That's how they operate. Okay. And so why be so blunt about who you think they're trying to support? Because all that is going to do is help what I think is Putin's end goal. Putin doesn't care who wins. I'm convinced that Putin doesn't care who wins. What he cares about is how people feel about it. And Trump winning was good for Putin not because Trump was going to do anything for Putin or that Putin expected anything from Trump.
Yeah, it's because people are not happy.
It's because so many people were shocked, especially, I mean, Putin was probably trying to help Trump win specifically because the media in the U.S. wasn't taking Trump seriously, was so upset by his candidacy. And Putin knew that if Trump got elected, that they would still keep tearing him apart and ridiculing him and trying to make his life difficult, which they have done, which has increased divisions in the U.S., which has just made people kind of go at each other's throats.
That's what Putin's baby.
That's what Putin wants. He doesn't want Trump to get reelected. He doesn't want Bernie Sanders to be elected. He doesn't care. He just wants people to be at each other's throats. He wants Americans to be angry and suspicious and upset. And he's getting it. And what's really upsetting is that the intelligence community, by saying, oh, now he's supporting Sanders, he's supporting Trump, and people in general getting involved in blaming Russia and arguing about all of this, they're making it worse.
Divide and rule.
They're doing Putin's job for him.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I telling this to a bunch of Armenians who speak English? Why? Because I want it to be a cautionary tale. Don't pull this kind of crap in this country. Remember that you need to get along with one another, that you need to compromise.
And get along with everyone.
Well, maybe not with everybody.
Well, yeah.
There are some people that could maybe be...
We can argue about what means to get along.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's just so ridiculous and silly for me to see people blaming Russia and fighting amongst themselves in the U.S. over stuff like this and thinking that they're standing up to Russia and not letting them meddle in our election because, no, you're doing exactly what he wants.
You know, I always say, do not blame Turkey or other countries or anyone. It's about Armenians. Blame yourselves for first place.
Well, and in fact, don't even blame.
And do not blame us for interrupting
we gotta run
our
off
interesting conversation because there is the advertisement coming, and right after that, we're going to listen to If Your Love Cannot Be Moved by Stevie Wonder. Stay tuned. This is the Great American Weekend. We'll come back with some more stuff for you.
Hello?
Hi, is your refrigerator running?
No, it doesn't have any legs.
Some American jokes just don't work with foreigners.
We're back after the break, and we enjoyed the music, and we have our guests already.
Yeah, we have our guests coming. Oh, they're here.
They just came in. They're at the station.
I missed them.
Yeah.
I was sitting in here, goofing around.
Really soon, we'll welcome here.
So, let's not leave our listeners in suspense anymore.
Yeah, Narek Chilla and Leelitte will be here in a bit. Leelitte will be here in a bit. Here, I'm rhyming already. Getting ready for some rap.
Yeah, so we've got a rapper and a singer.
Yeah.
And actually, she raps too. So my slang for this week is kind of based around that.
Cool.
But I feel silly doing this.
Why not?
Because
it's cool.
I looked up and I knew some of these. Actually, I knew most of them. I tried not to pick the ones that I wasn't familiar with.
Okay.
Rap and hip hop slang. But I feel silly doing this because I'm so detached from this culture and music.
We'll ask
days.
our guests.
Yeah, we should ask them if they have any to add. I grew up listening to hip hop and rap a little bit, just like I grew up listening to rock and oldies and whatever.
I wonder what rap did you prefer back?
The last rap album that I remember buying was the Eminem Show, and I bought it here in Armenia, so it was pirated, and Eminem didn't get any of the money. I like him because his cadence, his sense of rhythm when he raps is very distinct. The inflection and the beat are very good.
And it's unusual for a white guy.
Well, yeah. Overall, probably my favorite rapper of all time would have to be Ice-T.
Yeah, I know. I remember that.
Yeah, I had his album Original Gangster, OG. I really liked his speed metal project, Body Count. In fact, they've been doing some albums more recently. I think 2 or 3 years ago, they had a new album out. Always controversial lyrics, but thoughtful as well. He got in big trouble with Body Count because they did the song Cop Killer.
Yeah. What about Tupac?
Tupac I never really cared for. NWA, Dr. Dre a little bit, Ice Cube a little bit. And then, of course, the more mainstream hip-hop rap stuff, like Tone Loc. Remember Tone Loc?
Yeah.
And MC Hammer.
Yeah.
And Young MC, DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. So that's the kind of stuff. Well, Will Smith was the Fresh Prince. He got his start as a rapper.
I know, I remember.
Yeah, so that's for me like rap. The newer stuff, I don't listen to that. Kendrick Lamar, I've listened to a little bit. He is very talented. I can't even think. Drake, I just don't get. I don't get Drake at all. I'm like, what is this?
Why?
I have no idea. I listen to it. I'm just like, I don't get it.
You don't get the word?
No, I just don't get any of it. I just don't.
No sense.
Yeah, I don't feel any connection to it. Kendrick Lamar he's talented. I don't necessarily like his stuff, but I don't really like any rap these days anymore. But he's very talented and interesting. Anyway, so OG, which stands for Original Gangster. It means like old school or hardcore, but in a good way. It also kind of means like authentic. That's OG. Meaning like it's the real deal. Original Gangster. Grill.
Grill?
Yeah. Which is...
That sounds like food.
is your face or kind of your jawline. It also, I think, used to mean back in the day, like in the 80s. Oh, speaking of the 80s, Run DMC, right? Run DMC. Love them. You would have a grill if you had like all these gold teeth with like jewels in them and stuff. That was a grill. But now it's just kind of your face.
50 Cent.
Which I think, yeah, exactly. Which he was pretty good too. Yeah, I remember his stuff. Anyway, so grill would have to do with, it probably doesn't have anything to do with like grilling meat. It probably comes from the front of a car, which is the grill of a car. That area that air is supposed to pass through to get to the radiator, the grill. Anyway, in hip hop slang,
that's closer
rap
to
slang, it means face. Grind, to work hard. To hustle means to work smart. Trip. Are you tripping?
Are you joking?
No, it means to act crazy or unreasonable. And it probably comes from the idea that, when somebody's taking drugs and they're tripping, right? They're
going on a trip.
They're going
to somewhere else.
You're acting crazy. Are you tripping? Like, are you tripping? You've been taking drugs? You're just going crazy. You're going nuts. Another one that's related is 730. And I had never heard this one before, but I like it. 730. It means being crazy in a bad way, like you're nuts. And it comes from a police code that it's a code that they use to say that the person that they've arrested or the suspect, it probably needs a mental health evaluation, that they're acting like mentally unstable or insane. So 730. Let's see. Police, there are a lot of different like slang terms for police. The popo, the 5-0, or pigs. Yeah, that's why that album, Body Count album
in Russian.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for police, it's like trash.
Okay.
Yeah.
To bite means to copy or steal something, like a rhyme or an idea. Let's see. To front means to lie or to fake.
Front?
Yeah, front.
F-R-A?
F-R-O-N-T.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Benjamins or C notes or $100 bills. C note would be Century 100
Yeah.
C note, or Benjamin's because
Of
it's got Walter Benjamin. No, not paint. Not the paint company. It's got Benjamin Franklin on it. I'm losing it, kids. A crib means like your home.
A crib.
Yeah, your crib. MTV Cribs. That's a show. It might still be a show where they go and they tour like hip hop and rap celebrities' homes. Mm-hmm. Your crib. Cap means a bullet.
Cap?
Yeah, cap, C-A-P. So if you cap somebody, it means you shoot them.
Shoot 'em.
You put a bullet
How many
in 'em.
caps do you have in your gun? Yo.
I have no idea. A Glock or a 9 is a handgun. A 9, of course, means a 9mm. Mm-hmm. A Glock is a 9mm handgun. It's a brand of gun. Let's see. Whack means to be crazy or stupid.
We've got
so
a lot
whack.
of words for crazy.
Yeah. But not like insane.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, that's whack, man. That's stupid. That's
sick.
Yeah. Well, sick could mean both bad or good.
Yeah.
You know? Oh, that's so sick. That's so cool. Anyway. To diss somebody means to criticize or disrespect them. And that's probably where it comes from.
Diss.
Yeah, diss.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, disrespect, diss. To plug means to connect.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Connect with someone?
Yeah, or connect things. I think, usually you hear it used in English these days. It means to advertise or to try to sell something. We have somebody here on the show because they want to plug something. They've got an event or a song or whatever that they want to plug that they want us to advertise for them.
Yeah.
Get your plugs in. That's all I've got. And I probably got them wrong, too.
Oh, we never know. But most of them make sense. So I think you got them right. Well, thanks for all the new words. Very useful for people who want to start using the rapping art.
Or just to understand some of the music that they're listening to.
Yeah, most of the time, actually, in Armenia, that doesn't happen. People just repeat stuff, even the curse words, without knowing what they really mean.
Yeah. I remember.
It's funny during the kids' parties.
Yes. I used to get horrified. We would go to kids' cafes, and they would be playing like Dr. Dre and Eminem and like not the sanitized versions of the songs. They're cursing and inappropriate things in these songs. And I'm like... And the kids are standing there dancing around in a circle listening to them. And I'm like, what? And then I have to remind myself that
this is Armenia.
I'm probably the only person in this room who understands what's being said. My wife's sitting next to me. She understands English perfectly well, but it's going too fast and it's part of the music. And so she isn't paying attention and doesn't care. And I'm sitting there like,
to that.
Yeah. And I'm sitting there like,
Yeah, I understand how you feel. That happened to me after I came back from the United States. Well, right now we're going on a break and we'll come back with our guests in the studio, Leelitte and A. Chilla. Stay tuned. This is the Great American Weekend. We'll be back.
Ina, what would make America great again?
More barbecue.
No, we need more freedom. That's what'll make it great.
Join us on Great American Weekend.
And help us solve all of America's problems.
Every show is recorded by the NSA and sent to the White House.
Welcome back to the Great American Weekend here on Radio Von.
And we're not alone anymore in the studio. We're here finally with our guests on the red couch, Leelitte and A. Chilla. Welcome to the Great American Weekend on Radio Von.
So excited.
Hello, guys. How are you?
It's going to be in English.
You missed the language.
Been here for half a year almost.
Here, it's the right time to practice.
I think maybe that's a good way to start our conversation.
Or did that? Basically, I came back to do an album, a solo album. I was involved in a couple of projects over here that was doing my own thing. So I never had a solo project. And I moved actually here to do the solo project since it's in Armenian. I also rap in English as well, but this one is in Armenian, so I felt like I should be here. In America, I wasn't doing much music because I had a completely different job. Kind of came back to it.
Okay. Where were you in the U.S. and how long were you there?
I was in Los Angeles for 29 years.
Wow.
Wow, that's long.
Just to come and go, a month here. But this time I stuck around pretty much for a half a year, working on the album, about to finish it.
Great.
And Leelitte also is featured on the album. And that's another story how, we discovered each other and how we met over here. And that's exciting too.
Well, don't leave us hanging. What's the story?
Okay, so we there's I think you've been to the concert Dialogue Project.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a fusion between like live jazz, funk, hip hop. With a band of like maybe 9 people. And I always had back vocalists. So I remember one day, one of my band members told me, "Hey, there's a girl, we're looking for, maybe replacing the vocalist, and she raps." And you can only imagine how much every day I get in mail, like, "Oh, check out this demo. I rap this, I rap that. Is this good? Is this bad?" I always listen to almost everything, but it's very scarce when something interesting comes up. So I thought she was going to be another one of those, "Oh, listen to my demo or whatever." But as soon as she played it,
That's a serious stuff.
And it was in English too. I was blown away. It was in English, right away I could tell, she has style. She has very good library of music that she listens to, and she kind of stuck out. And I'm like, she shouldn't be a back vocalist no more. You should do like a, solo your own feature act, and I'll help you as much as I can. So yeah, she impressed me pretty much. So, and I have a song with her on the album. So that's good.
Oh, that's cool. And I have a question for Leelitte.
Yes.
Leelitte, welcome to our studio.
Thank you. How you feel?
Good. How do you feel?
Great.
Okay, so I know that you're really young, and
Yes.
When did you start your music career to get here?
So if you mean the period when I started to write songs, the very first song that I've written, it was at the age of 10. It was about my family, and it was in Armenian. But I started to be on a stage as an artist, as a solo artist, at the age of 18. Yeah, in a band as a solo artist, and then I started to write songs in English. First in English, then when I met Chilla, close friend of mine and a perfect person, so we started to write an Armenian song, and we collaborated, and we got a new song which is called I'm Getting Mad. I'm getting crazy.
I'm going crazy, actually.
Yeah.
It sounds cheesy, but it's a good concept. It has
Yeah,
a
it's like
twist behind it.
It's kind of
It
poetry.
That's
Yes.
kind of crazy, right?
It's kind of poetry, and when we were writing a song, we felt the same. Actually, it was just image. It's like image of butter, and you can deeply feel how the knife takes some parts of your body
Goes
and
through
your mind,
hot
and
knife to the body.
and put it on bread. And I guess that's how we feed our soul with music.
Oh, it's great.
I
And
want to add something. May I?
Yeah, sure.
The language changed because me as a hip hop artist and growing up in LA, all my life I wrote in English. Being Armenian and all, but not once it crossed my mind that I may write 4 lines in Armenian and make it match and make it cool and the flow and everything. So I was like very far. But years back when I was here, a friend of mine told me, I like your music, but I don't understand what you're saying. And not only me, nobody understands what you're saying. And I'm like, he's right, and that's the whole thing of rap, like to be understood.
the philosophy.
So somehow, without forcing myself, it came to me like how to manipulate it in Armenian, make it sound actually cool, So when I heard Leelitte, do English songs and well. And I'm like, have you tried in Armenian? She's like, no, I never did. I want to do English. I'm like, but no one's going to understand you. Same story, And then a week later, she came back with me. She came back at me with a verse she wrote in Armenian, hook and everything. I'm like, oh my God. It's like, I couldn't believe I did this, I'm like, that's it. So now you're understood. Now you can talk to them.
I mean, it seems so interesting to me, the questions that just come out of the language and the influences and stuff. I want to ask first, which language is easier for you guys to sing in, to write in, or to rap in? I mean, I can only imagine that rapping must be harder. I'm sorry, to switch languages.
Yeah. Plus, it's it's timing, it's rhythm, it's what it's about, and being rhymed at the same time, and not lose the track of the concept of what you're saying. So it's kind of a sport. It's like a puzzle, Not a lot of people do it good.
Yeah.
It really is a puzzle. And with language differences, is now I'm comfortable with both, really comfortable. But I was first struggling trying to find that flow, as you say in Armenian, how to not make it so rough, because now the pronunciation is different, the accents are different, But I'm very comfortable with both. And I don't think there's a lot of artists that could do in both those languages.
No, that's impressive. That's really impressive.
So I grew comfortable. So now she already had the English thing going, and now she's very comfortable with the Armenian, and it sounds so cool.
Okay, guys, we will go for a break and we'll come back with some music. So stay tuned. This is a Great American Weekend with our dear guest, Leelitte and A. Chilla.
I miss America, too.
What's the best word in American English?
My all-time favorite word is but I usually refer to it as lovemaking.
Become more fluent in American English and slang.
We're back in the studio and with lots of questions prepared for the guests. And as always, we won't have enough time for it, but...
So, since this is the Great American Weekend,
yes,
I want to hear from both of you about how American music and culture has influenced your art and your lives.
Wow. Can I start?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, before even going to the U.S., this is the 80s. My parents were like very big music, enthusiasts and collectors, and I always grew up to vinyl of like Quincy Jones and Stevie Wonders and James Brown, all that funky, nice, juicy stuff. So that was always in my ear, kind of. And then I was lucky to go to America at 12. That's where I discovered rap, and I actually stood in line and bought like the first Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg album. I have the original copies. And so
did you? Okay, wait.
That swept
the
me
album.
away.
You were holding your hands like this. Did you buy it? Did you buy it on
The
vinyl? I was going to ask, vinyl or CD?
No, not
you
a CD,
got it on
vinyl.
vinyl. Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
And after that, I became a connoisseur of rap. So growing up there, yeah, definitely American music influenced me. I mean, she has a funner answer because she never been to America, and I was at least there, so I was right there. And
The biggest artists that influenced you?
Miles Davis.
Miles Davis?
Yes, and I can tell you why. Not only because I'm a jazz lover, but also Miles, like every decade, he changed his music and style and his musicians, and it was always refreshed. I was so inspired by that, He never stuck at one place for more than a couple of years. Always had fresh guys playing with him. I was like bringing out new artists, so he's like my idol, yeah. And plus genius of a music solver.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
What about you, Leelitte?
Oh. I like American music. So we got inspired of American music. They got inspired of African music. So I like, because due to their music, we got informed. So Billboard charts. So we're following the charts of Billboard, and even when we're talking right now, the charts are changing. Mm-hmm. So we should be informed. Even when we're doing production, even when we're writing song or lyrics, we should be informed. So,
Dude, I was impressed because you're young and you listen to the music, like your music choice is what I listen to, and I think it's great. You know what I mean?
She's a mature
Yeah,
musician.
she's like, do you know D'Angelo? Do you know? I'm like, how do you know this? Yeah, I'm telling you, man. That's why I was like,
D'Angelo?
damn, you listen to
man.
good music. Yeah,
I had his first album.
I loved, D'Angelo. See,
Incredible. And
Voodoo,
then he
something
disappeared.
Voodoo, yeah. It was called Voodoo something, yeah.
And then he disappeared
He did.
for a while.
Yes.
And I was like, where did he go? Because he was,
He had
that
this
album
sexy
was
video with, the whole
yeah.
brown sugar and stuff.
all kinds of standards. That's why we like.
Okay, so
Yeah.
guys, imagine if you could pick 3 artists to perform with, you in the same, featuring with you, your track. Who would that be? Anyone, dead or alive, except Miles Davis.
Quincy Jones. I like to know Quincy Jones at least to sit down 5 minutes, talk to him. Oh, like this, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said Quincy Jones. Genius.
Yeah.
Who brought up Michael Jackson's and the Marvin Gaye's and all those people. So
that's one.
yeah. And as
You've
a
got 2
producer-
more.
I got 2 more?
You've got 2 more
Yeah.
to talk about.
They don't have to be musicians, right? Or they do. Musicians, yeah. I was going to say Bruce Lee. I'm a Bruce Lee fan. But yeah, Quincy Jones, Miles Davis, of course, and Michael Jackson.
Great. What about you, Leelitte Chan?
First of all, Ed James.
Who?
Ed James.
Yeah.
She's great. And Amy Winehouse, and the last one, Aquanaro.
She says she knows things I don't even know.
Who is that?
Who's
I don't know.
that?
She's not a singer, but I have to say she's reading a poetry.
Oh, okay.
And she do it like standing barefoot and
Daft Poetry is
Just-
called it?
yeah. How does it feel? It's called How Does It Feel, and it's a poetry mixed with jazz fusion. So
Yeah.
and I like her personality. She got a personality.
She's got stuff to say, yeah.
Yeah.
And can we hear you with a piece of what you've got to say?
Yeah, you sing all the time, so no problem.
I got a new song which is called Minimal.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an Armenian one. I'm gonna release it in March. Actually, February was a month of collaboration, cause collaboration with Chilla, collaboration with good friend of mine David Melkonyan, is a cool saxophonist and member of our dialect project. Yeah. Collaboration with Tigran Mansourian, with Vahe Martirosyan, Vagan Stepanyan. So we're gonna release that all kinds of songs actually in March. I'm not gonna say when, cause I don't know.
And I promised her when I finish my album, I'm gonna do at least the EP for her, for her own solo stuff. Now she can go do songs with others, but then I'm gonna be very protective, don't sing with, don't do this, don't do that. But now you can tell them.
I wanna try everything, and music.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
are we
a
ready?
song which is called Minimal. I'm gonna sing only chorus because I don't want to open actually with all kinds of brackets because it's a surprise.
Okay, it's gonna be a teaser.
And with a video clip, yeah.
Okay.
Քաղաքին սերն ապակասում, որ նորից ապրենք, բայց ինձնից կողանելով կուցե, դու քեզ գտնես, ամեն ինչն է անցողիկ, բայց չի պրկի գինին, բայց քեզնից հեռանալով կուցե, ես ինձ սիրեմ. I'm done.
Bravo.
Nice,
Thank you.
Very nice.
It's very beautiful.
She doesn't sound like any other singer over here locally that I know.
Yeah.
So that's why, I said you got that English influence style and you feel the vibe, but if you can switch it again back to Armenian, maybe we'll have something new for this new generation that's her age to look, to listen to or to as an artist. So I think she has a very different approach to it, and if she could do big things if we do it right.
We rely on you, Leelitte. You're
Yes, I do
the
too.
future.
I do, definitely.
Oh, this was beautiful, and we'll wait for March and see.
Anxiously awaiting.
What are you curious about?
Yeah, I have a question to you. What do you miss the most about America when you're here in
Well,
Armenia?
I'm gonna say like simple things like In and Out and stuff.
It's Master
comes to
Steve. It's
mind.
always
The
about
burgers.
food.
The
Have you
burgers.
noticed? We have a statistic.
Let me tell you, let me tell you, over there, you get upset because there's so many choices, and you're like, I don't know what I want to eat today. You know, it's a Chinese, it's gonna be like pizza or like Mexican, but over here, sometimes you kind of lack those choices, and you want to go back to having, you know, the why do you say it? I forgot that word. See, I already forget words. Spectrum of food. There you go. The spectrum. But what I miss the most, listen, I grew up there all my life. You know, there's a lot I miss. You know, it's this. So, the sun, the palm trees, the ocean. Things like
Yeah,
that.
that's what I miss the most.
The winters that aren't really winters.
Yeah, because January 13th, my birthday, I'm in shorts. I'm in Venice Beach. You know, over here I was freezing.
So, Leelitte, have you ever been to America?
No, I'm dreaming of.
What would be the first thing that you would do, or why would you go there?
You know, traveling is like getting different kinds of music from all over the world. I would like to, music. It's like I would like to go theaters and museums. If
To gain some spiritual food. You see the difference?
Because
You
I
miss
got
the food.
inspired.
Because I've been to the museums and the concerts, and I've seen
Oh, yeah,
most
of
of my
course.
favorite
First
artists
of
from
all,
online.
joking.
I asked Chilla where should I go.
Who do you want to see live the most?
What?
Who do you want to see in concert the most?
Yeah.
Who do you want to see in the concert?
Oh,
Lauryn Hill.
not only Lauryn Hill, but one I'm gonna see, and I'm dreaming of seeing Eminem actually, because I'm a fan of.
Okay.
Whoa.
What's the best concert you've seen?
Oh, from hip hop or in general?
Just in
I've seen
general.
Barry White.
Yeah.
I've seen
Get out of
He's
here.
like-
Barry White. Yeah. Also, Nas. He's one of my favorite rappers of all time. Nas. Nasir Jones. Yeah. But Barry White was one of those like, I saw the great. And I saw George Carlin. I don't know if you know him or not. George Carlin, the stand-up comedian. Yeah, he passed
I'm
away.
jealous.
That was worth being in America.
That's cool. He was hilarious.
Yeah, until today.
Can
I
you guys?
laugh at the same joke.
Yes. Can you guys talk about your upcoming events, concerts, so that we can let our listeners know what is coming?
What about the Dialogue Project? Upcoming events. We got a concert in March. On
Third.
3rd March, yeah.
The
And
Mezzo Club.
Mezzo Classic Hall will wait for you.
Yes, please. And I encourage everyone out there listening.
Yeah, check it out. I've only been able to catch Dialogue Project once, but I really enjoyed it. It was great. It was great, and I have to admit, I mean,
Only 5 times I've seen.
only
You know
are
the
you
lyrics.
serious?
And
Are you
still
I'm
coming.
so jealous.
So March 3rd, Mezzo Music Club at 8.
O'clock, yeah.
Yeah, 8 o'clock, 8:30ish.
You ready? Don't be late.
Yeah, don't be late because the concert's always late.
Okay, you've got.
I've got the album coming out, my solo album, which she's featuring on, like I said. And the title is, in Armenian, it sounds like this. Ais Molorakain, and it's Earthling. Not an alien, but Earthling. The opposite of an alien. Yeah,
Not from another planet, but from this planet. Yeah.
So the concept's that it's going to be 10 songs. And my first solo, because like I said, as a producer, I was known, and then I was part of other bands, but I never had a solo project. So this is like my own, whatever I want to say, however I want to do the music,
That's cool.
And discovering artists like Leelitte on the way, very inspiring too.
It seems like Armenian land is inspiring you to some new stuff.
It's not. In LA, I used to say, every day is repetitive, every day is the same. 9 to 5, you go to work, you come, you watch the TV, you go to sleep. But over here, it could get very repetitive, but you never know what's going to happen at the end of the day. You never know where you're going to end up and with who.
There's always a surprise coming.
Yes, such a small city, but big adventures always happen.
So do you do solo performances, or do you plan on doing them once you have your album finished?
Yes. I didn't have material before. Like I said, I was in group, like bands, I have a duet called 3.33 with another guy. It's me and him. It's very well known. I have another project where there's 4 people involved, so I always had to do stuff with them. So my solo stuff, now I can have my own concert with my own songs without featuring anybody.
So, and this is always something that's interesting for me with rap and hip hop. Yeah. How are you going to do a live show?
Well, there's several, like you've seen Dialogue Project.
Yeah.
Right? That's like 50% live and 90% live. And then you just have rap. But there's a way you can do a drummer, bassist, keyboard, and a DJ. So the DJ would keep that pump, round, basses going, the hip hop should be, and the musicians add on top of it. So it's a fusion again.
Yeah.
Nowadays, just with a DJ, it's kind of boring, old school. Now you want like a solo somewhere, you want like a keyboard breakdown, so. And since I'm very musical, I always like to play around with also live instruments.
We don't have live instruments here, but can we ask you to?
Joe, you want me to? Oh my God!
Yeah, please, a little piece.
There.
We heard Leelitte. Now it's your turn.
Something from what's on my flash drive, right? Like a full song.
No,
I can do like an Armenian verse.
Do a little. Yeah,
we can do this.
But you have to give me kind of like.
Okay.
Do you want to do a sort of sense? Maybe just first verse
of
and
course.
hook? Yeah. Okay, so it's called the Sorel Sense, which translates to, and today went like this, basically. ... Այսօր էլ սենց մի քիչ խառը, բայց ես սովոր եմ այս տարօրինակ վիճակը, ինձ թվում է ավելորդ, թե հատկապես այսօր, որ շատ է գործ ու փորձեր, նաև հանդիպում, պետք է մտնել մի քանի տեղ ու ժպտալ իզուր, միգուցե ընդմիջում կոֆե կա տարածքում, հոտ է տարածվում, բայց ինչ որ մեկդ մնաց առանց ծուխ, այսօր էլ սենցը հաբատենց է կյանքը բենզաբակը լիքը թվում է կհանես դիքը, բայց վերևը պիկա, հին ու նոր դեմքեր, կատարված դեպքեր, կամ էլ պատմություն, թե ոնց է մեկը հարց լուծում, պետք չէ այսօր մնալ արթուն, էլի Գնամ տուն, ավելի լավ է խորեքում, մտնեմ իմ բունը հաճելի այսօր է սկորել արդեն մի քանի օր, փնտրում ենք քեզ բոլորը, բայց անջատած է հեռախոսդ մերը խոսալով վրեդ, բայց ով է ինձ լսողը, ասում եմ քեզ երբ արթնանում եմ անցավ օրթական օրը, այսօր էլ սենց, միջև կեսօր դզեց, ու տուն հասա էլի ես, այսօր էլ սենց, բաժանորդը անհասանելի է. Oh, nice. So this is actually to a very good reggae type of feel-good beat, you know what I mean? So it's going to be on the album.
Chilla. Chilling with a Chilla.
That stuck to me, that name, that rap name stuck. Because it's my personality. I'm like calm, I guess.
I think it suits you well.
So I chill all the time, so I'm the chiller.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
When you guys are working on new material, either together or with other people, what tends to come first? The lyrics, the melody, the beat?
Good question.
What?
Actually, Chilla did a production of our song, and actually is doing production. I'm writing the lyrics and the melody of a song.
I would do the beat, and I would call in an artist, and I would not give them the beat and the melody. I would just give them an instrumental and say, what do you think should go on it? How do you feel about what melody comes to your mind? And oftentimes there might be better ideas than yours as a producer. That's why that hook for that I'm Going Crazy song, she came to me already written lyrics for the hook and the melody and everything. I'm like, oh, this is perfect. All I have to do is write my part. And she's feisty too. She doesn't only listen, she also says, hey, it should be like this, you know, like I wrote this and I wrote it. That's cool. That's so inspiring.
That's a great way to collaborate. And how long does it take you guys to memorize the lyrics? Is it like
I used to have a problem with that.
Yeah, I mean, when you were reading the rap, I was like, how does he remember all this
Because
stuff?
it's fresh,
Like-
because it's recent. The songs that we wrote 10 years ago and we have to do a concert of now for my other groups, you know. I sometimes, you know, get up on stage with reading from the phone or like paper, and I'm like, I'm sorry, this was 10 years ago. And it's too much lyrics. But this fresh album, I can all do it right now at top of my head. I know everything perfectly well. It's just fresh, that's why.
If there's a mistake on a stage, how do you deal with that?
That's what Miles Davis said. That's where I learned. He goes, when you play a false note, it doesn't matter. It matters what you play after that. So when you mess up, it's important what you do after that. And you close the mess up.
Doesn't matter. Go and learn the lyrics of your songs. Actually, I know all kinds of songs, Chilla's songs by heart.
More than he does?
Sometimes at concerts, there's people, I just follow them not to forget my own lyrics, I swear.
They know the lyrics better than him, yeah.
It happened a couple of times. There would be like girl or a dude rapping in front of me with me, you know, all excited, and I'm like, yeah, and then it's like, oh, it's
So you're not trying to pump the crowd up, you're actually asking for them to remind you of the
remember
lyrics.
my stuff, yeah. But that's not, I know, that's not professional.
Teleprompter?
Definitely, yes.
It's like kind of trick, as if you forget on your words. Sing with me, and that's it.
And what would you guys recommend? Any tips for younger kids, talented or not, who would like to start making rap music, hip hop? What does a person need to go
the sad
for
thing
it?
is, like, so many talented people we haven't even heard about, or, you know, young people, because they don't have the opportunity for studios or to even record their voice semi-professionally.
Or maybe they're scared, they don't dare to start.
But thanks to the internet, I get personally all the time from artists like, I wrote this, I wrote that, and I'll comment usually. I'll be like, you know, this is kind of raw. You should work on it a little bit more. Maybe, you know, sometime later I'll hear it. But yeah, a lot of people they just write, but they can't write a demo and to present to somebody. So I'm trying to put like a studio together here to help those kind of artists as well.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, because, you know, if I didn't run to her, someone else would, and they would, you know, blow up with her as an artist. But I'm glad, no. You had songs recorded, right, already?
Yes.
Before we met. Yeah, do you play them?
But in English.
But in English. So I encouraged her to do it in Armenian. Since we live in Armenia, you know what I mean? That makes sense, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't like Armenian artists trying to sing English because accent, you know, and then they're not going to do better than
and sing
what's
with
already
bad
being sung.
pronunciation. Don't do that.
Oh, yeah.
What language do you
Look who's
think
speaking.
in?
I rap in both languages, and I don't want people to...
Well, but that's different. And what language do you guys think in?
I used to think in English and then translate it into Armenian, but it's
But
not
where
right,
does that
you know?
come from? I mean, Chilla's case, I understand.
mess.
But what about
Thank
you?
I even know Russian, too. Sometimes I don't know.
you know, I graduated the linguistic university. That's why sometimes my Cadmium changes. It's okay, but now I'm thinking in Armenian because it's the most beautiful language that I've ever met.
Whoa.
There you
She has
go.
less of an accent singing in English than when she speaks. I just noticed.
Yeah,
I don't know
that's
why
true.
that
It's all
is.
about
That's
music.
You kind of copy in a different way, like the way it's pronounced.
It's
Right?
because
Because she
she's
sings-
got a musical thinking, maybe
Yeah.
as well.
Phrasing, maybe.
Yeah.
And you know, I forgot to say, I wish everyone the desire, because everything starts with the desire.
Yeah, of course.
If they got a desire to learn something, to develop their skills, to learn more, to get their personality, to build their personality, they will.
Sure. Definitely.
That's all they need.
Thank you. What is you guys' dream venue? Where would you dream to perform?
I've never thought about this question.
The Coliseum.
There you go.
Oh, wait.
All the
Have you
roads
ever been
lead
to LA?
to
Yeah,
Rome.
like half your life in
no,
LA.
that
so-
Or
That gives you away, man. The Coliseum.
The Coliseum.
Rest in peace, Kobe Bryant, of course.
Yeah.
Sad thing, but yeah, I was a diehard Laker fan.
Closer to the mic.
Yes.
And maybe my last question, because we're out of time. Okay, you're performing at a Coliseum, and the whole world is listening to you.
Yeah.
What is that message? What is that one important message you've got to say that everyone hears?
I might not be able to tell you exactly the message, but when I rap, I already said, I stated this on the internet too. This album is not for rappers. I'm not doing this for other rappers to listen to and say, oh, look how he said this or what he said. You know, I'm like so neutral. My message is so neutral. Like everyone could relate to, basically. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Not about general well-being. It's about kind of situations we go through. You know, I'm sure you have gone through what I would be talking about. It's not so individual. You know, so
that's classic.
you know what I mean? I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't want to state a message like, "Oh, peace to the world," and I hope everyone. But whatever I speak about, I'm sure all of us have been in a common situation. So I'm trying to grasp that, no barriers type of thing.
I'm gonna say them go ahead. It's like when Lauryn Hill was 15, in one of her concerts, she sang "Who's Loving You" by Jackson 5, yeah? And the audience, they put all kinds of potatoes on her. She sang the whole song.
All the way each one.
Yeah, and then they began to clap her. That all audience.
Not to give up, you
It's,
mean?
it's
Go
go
for it.
ahead,
Go for it,
not
yeah.
give up, because you should have a strong will. So
Just like Gandhi said, first they laugh at you, then they deny, then you win. Thank you guys for coming.
very much.
It was a pleasure.
It was a
Yeah,
blast.
thank you
It was
for
a
joining
Yeah.
us.
It was great, and we hope that we hear you on all kinds of Coliseum and other
Thank you. We
stages.
should come back next year with updates.
Yeah,
I'm sure a lot of things will change.
we'll be in touch, definitely.
Thank you very much for having us.
thank you for this atmosphere.
And
Very good.
thank you for the atmosphere you first place shared with us. Stay tuned, guys. We have a few more minutes to go with the calendar of events for the upcoming week. We'll be back after the break.
Oh, say, can you see?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed?
Adamast, what are you doing?
He's trying not to forget where he came from.
That was totally awesome to have the rap version of
The singing and the rapping.
Yeah.
And the, yeah.
That wasn't planned. It was a random choice. So that's cool. And we're back with the calendar of events for upcoming week. Master Steve?
All right. Let's start with the American Corner in Yerevan, the reading club with Jim Daly. The Yerevan American Corner invites you to this week's reading moderated by Jim Daly. This week you will read and discuss Rita Hayworth and Shawshank Redemption by Stephen King. And we've talked about this short story on the show before and the movie. Please be informed that the club is for people with an intermediate level of English, and it is 18 plus. English for kids 8 to 10 years old. The Yerevan American Corner and the U.S. Embassy cordially invite you to take part in our English language course for 8 to 10-year-old students. The course aims at developing speaking skills of the students, enhancing the vocabulary, and providing a platform where they can express their thoughts and ideas. The club will take place on Mondays at 3 p.m. and on Saturdays at 1 p.m.
And that's a great platform for beginners. And let's see what they have in Yerevan Mall Kino Park Cinema. Movies in English. Doolittle, American fantasy adventure film at 1:20 and 9:55 p.m.
Dr. Doolittle.
Yeah.
The man who can speak with the
animals.
How many times have they remade this movie, this concept?
Because it's always fun to
Yeah,
watch.
it is.
Bird of Prey, a superhero movie, 6:35 p.m. Sonic the Hedgehog, an adventure comedy film based on the video game, at 9:25 p.m. The Gentleman, and I really recommend
You were talking
guys
about this
to watch
earlier in the
this.
show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so, I mean, seriously, when I was watching it, I was thinking of Master Steve's reaction to all the tests.
I like Guy Ritchie all the way from Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels to, I don't know what, Snatch. And I mean, he's done some really good stuff.
And he doesn't lose
And I'm not
his
even
catch.
really, yeah.
It's really cool. And it's great that there is the English version, so you guys can go ahead and watch it. It is 6 p.m. And
The Call of the Wild,
Wild,
an adventure film based on the Jack London novel, Call of the Wild.
Yeah.
Good novel. Good story.
Starring Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
And it goes on 5:40 p.m.
But wait, who is Harrison? I got to see this movie now. Who is Harrison Ford?
Harrison Ford, one of the popular
well, I know who the actor is, but the book is from the perspective of a dog.
You mean the character? Yeah.
So is Harrison Ford the dog?
Haven't watched it yet.
I'm curious now.
But I've seen like a couple of pictures, so he's in there. It's not his voice only.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay, and we've got opera and ballet theater events. Mysterious East concert at the theater special event hall, February 25th at 7 p.m. And we've got Don Quixote ballet in 3 acts, February 29th at 7 p.m. Master
Live
Steve?
music for the upcoming week. We've got the Karen Grigorian Trio at Ulihanyan Club on the 23rd, starting at 8:30. Vahagan Hairopetian Trio at Ulihanyan Club on the 24th, starting at 8:30. Friendly Quartet, also at Ulihanyan Club on the 25th. And Monk's Dream by Karen Grigorian, his quartet at Ulihanyan Club on the 26th of February. Sirbuhi Hovhannisyan's Jazz Quintet will be at Ulihanyan Club on the 27th. The Rafael Petrosian Trio with Arsen Nersisyan at Ulihanyan on the 28th. The Line will be playing at the Ulihanyan Club on the 29th. Kami Club, Kami Project will be at Kami Club on February 23rd. Colors of Music at Kami Club on February 24th. Mm-hmm. Karina and the Band at Kami Club on February 25th. Sirpuk at Kami Club as well on the 27th, starting at 9:30. Old School Terror Metal Night, Volume 1.
Terror Metal.
Yes. Starting on February 23rd at the venue, starting at 8 p.m.
Let me read this one.
Okay.
Raisa Vanessian and Friends at Mezzo Club, February 25th at 8:30 p.m.
Yeah, I've been butchering that name, and I apologize. Thank you. By the Way
No
Band
problem.
at Mezzo on February 26th at 8:30. Garik and Sona are at Mezzo on February 29th, and Jujo's Band at Club 12 on February 23rd.
Yes, thank you, Master Steve. And I've got a couple of other events. There is Zen 0.5, Miyagi, Krink, Buddha Kit, Ascetics, The Main. I guess these are all the names of performers and DJs. At the Sport and Concert Complex at 9 p.m. The 5th Zen is on February 29th. Such a day will happen in 4 years. That's what their page says. While such Saturday will only come in 28 years. So let's meet in winter and dance till spring. There is TV series Squeeze at Loft, February 28th at 7 p.m. This is a Man's World, an event at Loft Room, February 23rd at 8 p.m. Opening concert season 2020, Hover at AGBU Armenia, February 25th at 7 p.m. Club night with Key B2B, Alan Smithy and Marilyn B2B, Mistake, February 29th at 11:59 p.m. at Polygraph. And that's all that we had prepared for you guys.
That's all that we have, but I think that's plenty enough.
Yeah, you
Get
can
out.
choose.
Yeah, there's enough to choose from there. Get out, catch some live music or some movies this week.
And I got a short news, which we didn't talk about last time, and I really want to talk about this really quickly. It's also connected with culture and calendar of events. The National Gallery of Armenia will host an exhibition of works by prominent Spanish artist Salvador Dali, one of the founders of the Surrealism movement, and Pablo Picasso, the founder of the Cubism movement. So make sure you guys don't miss this. This is for the first time in Yerevan, and I can't wait to visit this exhibition. We don't know the exact date yet, but it will be announced for sure. So this is it. We're done. This was the Great American Weekend Wrap episode.
Thank you for Leelitte.
Thank you to Leelitte and A,
Chilla, for joining us.
It was great.
Yeah.
And if you
thank
missed
you
it,
to all of our listeners for listening in yet again. And if you missed it, you can always check it out on Facebook and later on the Radio Von website.
We always record stuff. Have a great end of the weekend. Bye-bye.